Okay, so I don't really know how to begin this video. I don't really know if I'm even going to upload it. I just knew that I wanted to make it and just kind of share my story with everybody. I was going to do a fall makeup look, which is what's on my face right now, but I just wanted to get real instead for a minute. Just ignore my cats in the background. So this is going to be the completely unedited version of my mental illnesses, how I realized something was wrong, and where I'm at now in my life. Okay, I guess I'll start with what I have. I was diagnosed with bipolar depression and an anxiety disorder. I was diagnosed with the bipolar depression the summer before I started my sophomore year of high school, and I got the anxiety disorder my senior year of high school. Well, at least that's when I was diagnosed with it. That was the first time I admitted there was something going on. So yeah, I guess I'll start with the depression because that came first. I guess I'll flip it actually back to when I was 7 years old, because that's when the anxiety started, but that's not when I started telling people about it. My dad cheated on my mother, and I was the only one who knew. I used to be the world's biggest daddy's girl, so I would get super sad when he would leave for work because he worked nights. And so I would walk him to his truck every day, and I would literally watch him drive to the end of our street and turn and watch him leave because I loved him that much. One night, I watched him get in his truck and drive down the street, but he didn't turn at the end of the street. He turned into one of our neighbors' driveways. And I sat there and I thought, okay, maybe he just has to tell her something. And his truck never left their driveway. And when I talked to him about it, he told me that I wasn't allowed to tell my mom that he didn't go to work, and I wasn't allowed to tell her anything that I knew, no matter what, or that I would be in big trouble and no one would believe me. So I kept it in. I watched my parents argue and fight, and I just watched the relationship get really bad. And I wanted to tell my mom more than anything, but I didn't because I didn't want to get in trouble and all of this. It ended up stressing me out so much. I started losing my hair and I started throwing up constantly. Like, I couldn't keep anything down no matter what, just because of how stressed I was from the impact of having all of this on my shoulders. My older sister didn't know, and my mom didn't know until she literally had to take me to the hospital and was like, what is wrong with my child? You know, she won't eat, she doesn't sleep, she's always freaked out, she's always stressing, her hair's falling out. And they said that there was nothing actually medically wrong with me, and that it seemed that I was just stressed. And she didn't know what a 7-year-old had to be stressed about. I mean, who was stealing my animal crackers at school? What does a 7-year-old have to be stressed about? And one night, I finally broke down and told my mom the truth. And my dad hit me, and that was when my mom threw him out. But that wasn't the end of it. He came back a few weeks later or whatever, and that was when their fight started getting really bad, and I witnessed it because I couldn't sleep that night, and I opened my door and I looked out and they were physically fighting with each other. And well, that's just not an image you can ever get out of your head. I still see that sometimes, and it messed me up, I'm not gonna lie. My dad cheating on my mom and hurting her in ways I never thought he could do that, because I as a child, put him on a pedestal. I thought he was like the greatest person in the entire world, and it turned out he wasn't. So now it's like the hardest for me to ever trust anybody, because I mean, I trusted him. I trusted him with my life. I trusted him with anything, and that's who he turned out to be. And I know not everyone is going to be like my dad, but it's still hard for me to open up and trust people solely for the fact that, I mean, he was my dad. If you can't trust your parents, who can you trust? Um, so that's when I believe that my anxiety started, because that's when I started freaking out about every little thing. I was afraid everyone was gonna lie to me and everyone was gonna hurt me and all this. But I didn't tell anybody because I was like, I'm just over exaggerating. I was 7, just, it's whatever. And then fast forwarding to the summer before my sophomore year of high school. I think this was like 2013 maybe. So I was, I don't know, 15, 16, I don't know, something like that. And my mom had just gotten a new boyfriend, which I was happy for her. He was alright. At least he was at the beginning. They started dating, and she was head over heels. This was the first guy she had seriously started dating since my dad, and I was happy for her. I wanted her to be happy. I wanted her to do whatever would make her happy. That's all I wanted. I just wanted her to be happy. And my sister was, I think she was about to be a senior, so she had a job. She was working all the time. She was never home. She was always out. My mom was never home. She was always with her new boyfriend and all of this, and I was just alone with my head and all my thoughts, and I was just alone. Okay, can you like not cover up my computer? What? Why? Why must you do this? You're the worst. Okay. I was completely alone, and that's when I started noticing everything around me, and I was like, wow, I'm literally like completely alone. Like, I had friends that I could talk to and everything, but I couldn't drive yet. They couldn't drive yet. No one was ever home. So I was just sitting here by myself all the time, and it just eventually started to get to me, and I started realizing that it wasn't just that I was alone, like I was, oh my god, stop. I realized that I was not just alone. I was like, I wasn't sad per se, and I wasn't happy. I was kind of numb. Like, I didn't feel any emotions. Like, they would be like, oh, you want to go do this? And I honestly didn't care if I did anything. I was perfectly fine just sitting there. I was just kind of numb with everything. I just pushed him away. You need to go away. You just keep getting in my camera. And I knew for a fact that my mom had depression, so I kind of knew the symptoms and everything. And she never noticed anything was wrong with me until I started showing the same signs she did. I would lay in my room for days on days, and I wouldn't move. I wouldn't eat. I would just lay there. Like, I wasn't even sleeping. I would just lay there. I wouldn't want to talk to anybody. I wasn't like the average teenager who was always on their phone. I wasn't texting all the time. I was literally just laying there. And when I told her how I felt about everything, I remember she started crying and she kept apologizing. And I was like, why are you apologizing? You can't help my mental health. Like, this isn't your fault. Like, why are you apologizing? And she's like, because I know exactly how you feel, and I never wanted you to feel like this. She's like, I never wanted you or your sister to ever have the same things that I do. Um, she didn't want us to have it. So then I felt bad for even telling her because I didn't want her to feel bad. And I remember going to the doctor and they put me on an antidepressant. And I thought, okay, this will help. I'll be happy again and all this. And it didn't. It didn't happen. And then I started dating this guy who swore up and down he can make me happy. He could do all of these like amazing things. And again, I put him on a pedestal. I was stupid. I should not have ever just depended on someone solely for happiness, which is kind of my first point. You have to be happy within yourself before you can be happy with anyone else. You shouldn't ever depend on someone else to make you happy because that's not their job. You have to be happy by yourself before you can even think of having another person cause your happiness. Because once that person's gone, so's your happiness, and it's just a cycle of sadness going around and around and around. But I was stupid, and I was at a low point in my life, and I believed every word he said. I believed that he could make me happy. I believed that he could fix my depression and all of this, which in my head, he did for like the year and a half we dated. I was like, I don't need my antidepressants anymore. He's here. He's making me happy. All of this. So of course, when he and I broke up, I was devastated and I was back to square one. I was upset and hurt and numb, and it just kind of all came flooding back to me, and I was like, okay, this is something that doesn't just go away by someone. This isn't just something that disappears on its own. Like, it's still there. No matter how much I push it and bury it and all of this, it's still there. So I ignored it. I didn't want to start the medication again. I thought I could handle it. I was wrong. I could not handle it because it came back. Oh my God. I'm about to throw you outside. Go away. I ignored it until my freshman year of college. Did you quit? Gosh. Cats. I ignored it until my freshman year of college when I had all of these hard classes. Like, I was taking 5 classes at once, plus I had labs, and I was working and all of this, so I had like no time to ever do anything. So you would think, oh, she was busy, her mind was busy, all of this. No, because I would have constant like mental breakdowns. Like, I remember one time, it was 30 minutes before my lab. I had nothing to do. Like, I had caught up on my homework, I had all of this. I had 30 minutes before my lab, and then I was done for the day. I didn't have to work, but I was sitting in my dorm room, and I just started like sobbing, and I couldn't figure out why I was so freaked out, why I was sobbing or anything like that. So I called my mom, and I talked to her. She started crying when she was at work, and it was just this giant mess, and everyone was crying. And then I realized again, I was like, I need to get help. Like, I shouldn't just be sitting in my dorm room crying for like no apparent reason, but for every reason in the whole world. Like, it would get to the point where I would lose my page while doing homework, and I would just cry. Like, I wouldn't just flip it back. I would just start crying. And I was like, okay, so I do need help. Like, this is something that I can't fix on my own. I can't just ignore it. And then that's when my anxiety started to flare up again. I was like, I have all these high expectations because I'm pre-med. So I have my mom sitting over here telling everybody that I'm going to be like a future doctor and everything. So I have that on me. And then I have my sister who changed her major midpoint because she was going to be a doctor, and she changed. So now I'm the one going there. And so I have pressure because now everyone's afraid that I'm going to also change my major and like not go pre-med and not do what I want to do. And in my mind, I'm just afraid that I'm not going to live up to their expectations, and I'm afraid that it's going to freak me out so much that I can't do it, and that caused a whole bunch of panic attacks. And my panic attacks, every time I get one, like, I don't see anything around me. I get like this ringing in my ears. My heart starts pounding really fast, and I can't breathe. And they can just happen at any time for me. Like, I can just be sitting there thinking of something that stresses me out, and I can just like feel like the world crumbling around me. Like, that is what it feels like to me, and I just can't breathe. Like, it feels like someone is suffocating me, and I can't do anything about it. So I went back to the doctor, and I told her all of this, and she asked me the dreaded question of anytime you ever start medication for a mental illness: are you suicidal? My answer will and forever will be, no, I'm not suicidal. But, I know, this is when everyone's going to be like, but what? Yeah, but I had gotten to a low point in my life where I realized that I'm not afraid to die. If it happens, it happens. So this is something that I haven't even told my mom, because I know what will happen if I do tell her. She will like hold my hand anytime I go anywhere. But let's say you're walking across the parking lot to get into like a store, and you obviously have the right of way, you're the pedestrian, but a car just keeps coming. I have told people, meaning my best friend, but I was walking, and this car's coming. I'm not gonna stop. If the car hits me, the car hits me. If it doesn't, it doesn't. That's not something I can control. I have the right of way. I'm gonna keep walking. I'm not afraid to die, but I'm not going to do it myself. Like, I'm not going to kill myself. Just, if it happens, it happens, and I'm not afraid to die. So no, I'm not suicidal, but I'm also not afraid to die, like, if it happens. Like, if someone was gonna rob me, I'm not gonna jump in front of a bullet. Like, I'm not, no, not like that. Like, I don't know how to word it, but yeah. But anyways, I'm on antidepressants and an anti-anxiety drug, and they don't fix anything, but they do help lessen the way you feel about things. So it used to be I would lose my page in a book and I would just break down and sob. That doesn't happen anymore. Now it has to be something way more major. It has to be like I'm like failing a class, and then I'll start crying. But that's like a normal thing to cry about. But I don't know. But recently, like this past year, something like sparked in me, and that's when I realized that I'm the only person who can cause my full happiness, my true happiness, and all of that. And that has honestly helped me out so much. I'm officially able to do the things that I want to do and not freak out and not have a panic attack and do all of this. Like this summer, I road tripped and I left the lovely state of Ohio, and I just started driving out west. I didn't have a place that I wanted to go. I just kind of wanted to hit places, and I did. And I would have been too afraid to do that 2 years ago, but I'm not this time. I went all the way to the St. Louis Arch, and I rode a little tiny steamboat on the Mississippi River listening to jazz music. Like, I just kind of lived, and it was great, and it was something that I was like genuinely happy with doing. I wanted to travel. I wanted to see things that you can't see in Ohio, and I did that. And I don't know, I keep saying "and" a lot, but I'm just genuinely happy with who I am as a person, where I am in my life, and that is just the best feeling that I think I've ever felt in my entire life. And I want everyone else to always feel like this. So if you ever feel alone or numb or just sad in general and you ever want to talk to somebody, hit me up on Twitter, hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat me, I don't know. Do whatever and I will talk to you. I'm completely open-minded. I will listen to whatever you have to say. I will talk to you. I will listen. I will try to help. And if I can't help, I will offer resources that can help. I will give you numbers to people and all of this. I just want everyone out there to be happy and healthy, and mental illness isn't something out there that people can just be like, oh, she's just depressed and all this kind of stuff. Like, it's a big deal. Like, mental illness isn't something to be taken lightly. It is a big part of something. It helps you completely function in your life. And if something's even a little off, that can mess up so much. And, well, that's honestly all I got right now. But, yeah, so go ahead, leave a like, a comment, subscribe. And I will talk to you guys later, and I might do this fall makeup tutorial. I don't know. I kind of liked sitting here and just kind of talking. And oh wow, I just realized this is a 21-minute video. So yeah, I'm going to stop it. But yeah, I hope everyone has a wonderful day and a wonderful life, and I hope you're happy. And if not, hit me up and we'll talk about it. So yeah.